Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this first episode of Reddit or AI. Since you're likely new here, let me quickly explain the game. My AI assistant, Lita, will read two stories from the AITA subreddit. One story is genuine from Reddit, and the other is completely made up by AI. Your challenge is to guess which one is real and which one is fake while enjoying the stories. After each story, I will also give you my reaction and whether I think the OP is the a-hole or not. Today's theme is petty wedding drama, often a very emotional subject. So, without any further delay, let's jump into the first story. Am I the asshole for serving culturally appropriate food at my wedding based on my guests' ethnicities? I am not sure what this means, but let's go anyway. Lita, take it away.
AITA for serving culturally appropriate food at my wedding based on my guests' ethnicities. I, 26F, just had my wedding last weekend, and apparently I'm a racist monster, according to half my family. I genuinely thought I was being inclusive and thoughtful, but everyone is acting like I committed some horrible crime. My fiancé, now husband, 28M, and I wanted our wedding to be special and personalized. We have a really diverse friend and family group. My maid of honor is Korean, my college roommate is Mexican, his best man is Italian, etc. Instead of doing a boring, standard wedding menu, I thought it would be amazing to serve each table food that matched their cultural backgrounds. I spent weeks researching and planning. I made a detailed spreadsheet of all our guests and their ethnicities. Some I had to guess based on last names and appearance, but I was pretty confident. Then I assigned each table a theme and worked with our caterer to create authentic dishes. The Korean table got bulgogi and kimchi, the Mexican table had street tacos and mole, the Italian table got osso buco and risotto. For my Irish relatives, I did corned beef and potatoes. My husband's German family got schnitzel and sauerkraut. I even made a British table for some family friends and served them fish and chips with mushy peas. I was so proud of the effort I put in. I thought everyone would be touched that I cared enough to honor their heritage instead of just doing chicken and beef like every other wedding. Boy, was I wrong. First, my maid of honor, Sarah, stood up during dinner and loudly asked why she got Korean food when she's actually Chinese and was adopted by white parents from Ohio. Apparently, I'd been calling her Korean for 3 years and she never corrected me because she thought I was joking. Then, my college friend Maria started crying because I put her at the Mexican table when she's actually Colombian and is apparently offended by Tex-Mex. But the real explosion came from my husband's family. Turns out his German relatives are actually Polish and Jewish, and they were horrified by the sauerkraut situation. His grandmother threw her napkin down and said I was reducing people to stereotypes, and stormed out. The worst part? I accidentally put our black guests at a table I labeled soul food with fried chicken and collard greens. My husband's college friend stood up and gave a speech about how problematic this was while half the room stared at me in horror. By the end of the night, 3 tables had barely touched their food, 2 families left early, and my new mother-in-law said I turned a celebration into a cultural minefield. I'm devastated. I genuinely thought I was being thoughtful and inclusive. Yes, I made some mistakes with people's backgrounds, but my heart was in the right place. Everyone is acting like I'm some sort of bigot when I was literally trying to celebrate diversity. My husband says he loves me, but we need to address some things about cultural sensitivity. AITA for trying to make my wedding more personal and inclusive?
All right, I've got to say, at this point, I'm leaning toward OP being a bit of an asshole. The problem here is all the assumptions, things you just shouldn't do. Just because someone is Asian doesn't mean they're Korean. Being blonde doesn't guarantee you're German. And being British definitely doesn't mean you like mushy peas. Honestly, does anyone actually like mushy peas? Even the Brits seem unsure. Plus, some of the food choices were kind of cheap. I mean, corned beef and potatoes at a wedding? That said, it wasn't very kind of the Chinese guest not to correct OP about her ethnicity, so some blame is shared. Looks like there's an update here. Let's check it out.
Update. The wedding photos came back, and somehow this got worse. I thought things were calming down, but then we got our wedding photos back, and apparently the photographer captured everything. There's a picture of Sarah, who I now know is Chinese, looking confused at her bulgogi. There's one of Maria crying over the fish tacos. And there's a perfect shot of my husband's grandmother's horrified face when she saw the sauerkraut. But the photo that's now making rounds on social media is my proud smile as I'm gesturing toward the soul food table like I'm presenting a prize on a game show, while everyone around me looks mortified. My cousin posted it with the caption, "When you try to be woke, but make it worse." And it got 15,000 shares. People are calling it the racist wedding photo of 2025. The worst part? Turns out I was wrong about almost everyone's background. My Italian table, German-Irish. The British table, mostly French-Canadian. And the couple I assumed was Jewish and served bagels and lox, they're Baptists. My husband showed me the group chat from his college friends where they're calling me Stereotype Sarah and sharing memes about my cultural disaster wedding. I'm in therapy now.
Okay, I'm shifting to the everyone sucks here camp. Even though OP's execution was pretty poor, the intentions seem to have been good. Unfortunately, this blew up way more than needed. Weddings are emotional, especially for the bride, and mistakes happen, but the family making it worse by posting on social media, that just added fuel to the fire. Before we move on, let me quickly tell you about our sponsor, an ebook called Blood, Bites, and Beauty. It's a hilarious urban fantasy about a 600-year-old vampiress who's stuck in her old ways but ends up blackmailed into entering a beauty pageant. Imagine supernatural creatures, mystery, and lots of laughs, especially if you're into vampires and succubi. You can find it everywhere ebooks are sold: Amazon, Kobo, Barnes& Noble, and more. Definitely worth picking up if you want a fun escape. All right, back to the video. Here's the second story. Am I a-hole for offering 2 different kinds of cake at our wedding?
Am I the a-hole for offering 2 different kinds of cake at our wedding? My husband, Josh, 29 male, and I just had our wedding a couple weeks ago, and we mostly got good feedback. Until today, we have heard that a lot of people have been smack-talking the cake behind our backs. Josh and I originally were going to have a smaller wedding at a resort. We were fortunate enough to be given some money to invite extra guests, so we decided to expand the wedding and have some of our second cousins and their kids, and some friends that we otherwise don't get to see as often. We are on a budget, so we decided to keep the fancy cake, the cutting cake for the pictures, not the real cake, for immediate family, and the pastor and a few members of the wedding party that we have known for the longest. We gave them the cake in boxes to take home, though, so they wouldn't be eating it in front of everyone else. Except the pastor, because he flew out from a ways and he is vegan, so he couldn't eat the dinner, and we wanted him to have something to eat before it got too late. We got a couple sheet cakes. One was vanilla and buttercream with rosettes, and then there was another sheet cake of pineapple chocolate chunk, especially for Josh's side of the family, because they spend a lot of time in Florida. We found out from talking with family that there was a lot of full slices left behind on people's plates of the pineapple cake, which the servers would not take home with them, so we noticed you can see it in a lot of the pictures. We were having too much fun to notice at the time. We loved catching up with all our guests. Apparently, Josh's family did not like the cake like we thought they would, and there have been some unkind words behind our backs. We got a text from Josh's uncle that wasn't meant for us to see, and it really stung. We are unsure where to go from here and what to say. The cake did not go off like we hope, but we think they are being unnecessarily mean. By the way, there was a full dinner, 3 kinds of cheese, even Monterey Jack, available, and an open bar that didn't close until late. So I feel like we were pretty good to our guests on a shoestring budget.
I'm leaning toward NTA on this one. Part of that is because OP was clearly trying to throw a wedding on a tight budget, which isn't easy. Compromises have to be made. Maybe some of those compromises weren't perfect, but everyone still got a full dinner and some cake, even if it was a somewhat unusual chocolate pineapple combo that not everyone might have wanted. But hey, for a budget wedding, that's about all you can ask for. Now it's decision time. Which story do you think is the genuine Reddit post and which one was crafted by AI? I'll give you 3 seconds to decide. 3, 2, 1. The AI created story was actually the first one. AITA for serving culturally appropriate food at my wedding based on my guests' ethnicities. Did you guess right? If you enjoyed this video and want more like it, covering everything from petty office battles to messy breakups, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out and you won't miss a single juicy story. That's all for today. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.